Hello, do you like New Japan Pro Wrestling? Are you a Shin Nihon freak? If so, check out the Super J-Cast with Joel and Damon on the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network.
And even if you fucking hate New Japan Pro Wrestling, listen to the Super J-Cast anyway. Not just for our great show reviews, analysis, and pastrami sandwiches, but there's also usually some dick jokes somewhere in the obligatory opening 30 minutes of absolute nonsense we chat about every single week. That's the Super J-Cast for all the best talk about New Japan Pro Wrestling, crisps, and pornography.
Cheering at pro wrestling shows in Japan is back, and 2023 is already shaping up to be a big year in the history of pro res. That's why you should listen to the Emerald Flow Show. From the Royal Road to the Green Mat, Paul and Gerard take you into the world of All Japan Pro Wrestling and Pro Wrestling Noah. Not only do we analyze events, but we examine business, who is getting over, what angles are working or not. Occasionally, we take a look at other Japanese promotions like DDT and 01. So if you're looking for more coverage of the world of Japanese wrestling, check out the Emerald Flow Show on the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network, available on all of your favorite podcast apps.
This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Welcome to Jumping Bomb Audio.
And welcome back to Jumping Bomb Audio, the #1 show all about the world of Joshi Pro Wrestling. My name is Taylor, and I am joined as always by my very good friend and co-host, Kelly. Kelly, hello.
Hello, you just found out that I'm not good at on-the-spot math.
Yes, we always do some mic checks before the show and make sure that we're all synced up by giving each other math equations, which are usually 2 + 2. I jokingly last week said I was going to change the equation this week, which I did, to 3 + 3, which Kelly got wrong. But we're not here, Kelly, to talk about math. We're here to talk about Joshi, and in that you are very smart.
Yay! Thank you. I get A's in that category.
And you are going to have a lot to be very smart about this week, because we have a lot of shows to talk about. We
sure do.
2 big Tokyo Joshi shows. We have thousands, it seems, of Stardom shows to talk about, including 2 big shows, I guess we'll call them, and a whole bunch of action from the 5-Star Grand Prix. We've got some other things to talk about. We got some Marvelous to talk about, which I will definitely be talking about. And then we got a lot to preview with the upcoming 5-Star Grand Prix action, a big SEAdLINNG show coming up at Korakuen Hall, and much, much more. So we don't have any time to waste, so let's dive right into it. We're going to start with some Tokyo Joshi action, and starting with the Tokyo Princess Cup semifinals that happened on August 12th at Korakuen Hall in front of 525 fans. Kelly, what did you think of this show?
Really fun show. Like the mid card was good. It's just kind of one of those shows where it's like the vibes carried you through the whole time. It didn't feel like it was taking a long time or anything. It was just what I want out of a Tokyo Joshi Korakuen show.
I was very happy. We talked about on the last show the previous Korakuen Hall show, which had a little bit of a weird vibe, or at least to me had a bit of a weird vibe. This felt very much like a return to form. I thought this was a very good show that I really enjoyed. So it kicked off with all the rookies hanging out together in a 6-person tag team match. Runa Okuba Toga and Wakana Uehara defeating Haru Kawashiro, Himawari, and Shino Suzuki in 9 minutes and 25 seconds. And I will just say, I don't know if Kelly's going to agree with me or not. I thought this was unbelievably good. I went 4 stars on this match.
Holy shit. I didn't go anywhere near that high. I thought it was pretty good, but damn, I only went 3.25.
I thought it was just, I don't know if it was just, I think one part of it is just that I'm still, even though I've talked differently on this show, I'm sort of still in the mindset of like, okay, this is 6 rookies. There are no, like the matches before have been like a veteran, 2 of the rookies against a veteran and 2 of the rookies. So you're like, okay, these veterans are going to steer them through the match, get them doing whatever they need to do.
Yeah, Mom and Dad aren't home this time.
Yes, correct. And I just thought it was so, I wrote in my notes, so much better than it has any right to be. These 6 people combined have like 50 matches under their belt. And I'm like, this is really good. Toga, of course, having the moment every match, destroyed Shino Suzuki with the elbow and then hit that wild finisher, which I really liked. And I was just like...
That slam looked brutal.
Yeah. I was just like, this is so good. I don't know. I think, was it like a really top level 4-star match? No, but I was just sort of blown away that it's like, okay, here's the 6 rookies and they had a great match. I mean, the fact that we're not sitting here being like, okay, they got through it, 2.5 stars. It was fine.
They didn't burn down the house trying to make toast. They did all their homework and then had time to watch some TV.
I also like that so many of them are already sort of very unique from each other. Now, Runa and Haru are sort of the most similar to each other, but like Himawari is very different from Shino, who's very different from Toga. So they all already sort of have these defined personalities, which is very important in Tokyo Joshi. But
yeah, I'm going to confuse Runa and Haru for probably years to come.
Unless one of them comes out and is like, my new gimmick is I'm a frickin', I don't know, frog.
Yeah. Because they're just 2 girls, and that's it. Like, there's nothing else really definitive about them. And I'm like, I need an FTR bald and hair for them. One of you needs to shave your head.
But that's the only distinction that you should take from that team. And keep it in the ring here.
Yeah, one of you, it shouldn't be, or like one of you can love your daughter, sure, but the other definitely shouldn't be I love my guns.
Yes, correct. Yeah, it's just like, I don't know. This is like the best case scenario for like 2 months ago. If you were like, hey, this match is going to be this good, especially seeing like Runa and Haru, who it was like, okay, they're very young. They appear very timid. I would have been like, I don't think they get there that fast.
No, I would have thought this was going to be a disaster.
And they did great. So, hats off. The next match was a singles match. Suzume defeating the recently returned Juria Nagano in 6 minutes and 5 seconds. A little nod to the NWA. I'm sure that's what they were going for.
Yeah. Big fan of Smashing Pumpkins.
Yeah. Kelly, what'd you think of this match?
I'm slightly disappointed with this. I don't know. It felt like they both kind of had an off night. Just in the early going, it was weirdly sloppy to me. I don't know. I went 2 3/4. Like, I think it ended up being pretty decent, but it wasn't what I was hoping it would be out of them.
I thought it was solid. I thought it was fine. Obviously, only 6 minutes. The one thing I sort of did like about the match is I like that Juria has come back, and sort of before her injury, she had, the finisher, that sort of quick strike And then the knee, I don't know what you call it, hold your foot kick. Uh, what do you call that?
What is that? A butterfly kick? That a name for it?
No, wait, it's like I don't know.
A low key
Delayed,
kick. Right?
delayed kick or something. But
Yeah.
anyway, it felt like her whole sort of identity was like, oh, I'm just going to sort of do things. And that's what we're all waiting. Like, we're all waiting for her to go for that. And so we're just sort of burning time waiting for that attempt, for her to hit it or at least attempt it. Where
Yeah.
it felt in this match much more like she's building out an offensive identity that sort of has different types of kicks and is karate based, but doesn't feel is like, oh, that's a cool thing you're doing. And I'm not just sitting here being like, okay, when's the big kick coming?
Yeah. Say the line.
Yeah. So I like that, but I think I would agree with you. It was pretty short. Um, I can't complain it wasn't terrible, but I thought it was just sort of solid. The next match was the Eat Shaved Ice and Enter 8-person tag team match. The quartet of Haruna Neko, Palm Harajuku, Raku, and Yuki Aino defeating Hikari Noa, Naokakuta, Hyper Masao, and Kaya Toribami in 9 minutes and 58 seconds. The rules of this match: each person was chosen to eat a certain shaved ice at a table outside the ring. Some had more than others. Some had very little, and Palm Harajuku had a lot. And once you finished it, you could then enter the match, which meant at different points in the match, it was a different, it was a handicap match, 2-on-1, 3-on-2. I did think for a good amount of time that Palm Harajuku was going to take a long time to finish. And like she was going to finish, be like, I'm done. The ref would be like, yes, you can get in. And the match was going to end. Like the pin would be happening as she was finishing. And so it would be like she never gets in the match.
That would have been good.
Because I thought, oh, that would be funny. But it didn't happen. And it ended up sort of being a match all about Palm Harajuku and her struggle to eat shaved ice.
Yeah, she was the main character of this match. I enjoyed that.
It really was at a time like, oh, there's a match going on in the ring, and that's not really important to observing who is finishing their shaved ice. Because it was like, oh, there's wrestling, but what's Palm Harajuku? How far has Palm Harajuku gotten?
Yeah.
Also did very much have to mention the English commentary with Chris Brooks and Ash, who was on the last show with Balianaki, but Balianaki not at this show. And I thought they were a very good commentary duo.
Yeah, they did a great job. This was a fun match. Like, just this is the kind of goofy nonsense I want out of Misao matches on the undercard. And sometimes you got to give Palm Harajuku the starring role in those matches.
The next match was a tag team match. The infamous duo of Mei San Michel and Saki Sama defeating Mahiro Kiryu and Mizuki in 13 minutes and 53 seconds. Kelly, what did you think about this Neo Bishiki-gun match?
I loved seeing the interactions between Mizuki and Saki Sama. Just they have such a great chemistry to them, and I wish we could see more. I'm sad they didn't do the title shot the next night like I was hoping they would. But this was another good match. Always wonderful to see Neo Bishiki-gun. I went 3 3/4.
I was very close. I went 3.5. I thought it was very fun. Mei San Michel was really going wild for parts of this, which is really saying something because she usually is going wild, but was extra wild here, attacking Mahiro, pretending at one point that she was getting her hair pulled. And then I thought the ending really took off, and Saki Sama just crushed Mahiro with those kicks
Yes.
for the finish. So I went 3.5 and thought it was interesting at the end, Mizuki taking. I also thought, because you had mentioned it when we previewed it, that it was like, oh, maybe Saki-sama gets a title challenge, that Mizuki took the rose at the end, accepted the rose, bachelor style from Saki-sama, thinking, oh, maybe that will be something. It wasn't something the next night, which I guess makes sense. I think that's a match you probably would want to advertise slightly more in advance.
Yeah.
But just something to think about. Also with Neo Bashiki-gun announced after the match that at Wrestle Princess 4 in October, there will be a 8-person tag with Neo Bashiki-gun, Saki-sama, May Saint Michel, Yukio Saint Laurent, and Martha will be teaming up against a mystery group of opponents, 4 opponents. So that will be happening.
I'm very excited. I think this means we'll get another massive entrance for them, which should be great.
It's funny because that entrance they did with all of them is like the best thing they can do. And I'm like, but it would also make sense if Neo Bashiki-gun like was going away, that's what you would do, but they've already done it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's sort of like, oh, I wonder what they would do to sort of top that, because that's like a great like all-time entrance for me.
Yeah, it really is.
So I'm like, how would they top that? I guess we'll have to see.
Yeah.
In the next match, another tag team match, Mio Watanabe and Shoko Nakajima defeating Arisa Endo and Moka Miyamoto in 13 minutes and 21 seconds. I mean, the thing that stands out, Endo not able to hit that jumping top rope drop kick, and I believe injured herself because she was off the next night.
Oh, no. I didn't even realize that. Yeah.
So I hope she is okay and recovering. But that was sort of the thing that stood out to me in the match.
Yeah, my note for this says good but unremarkable, which is true because I remember nothing about this match.
Yeah, I remember the slip because I was like, oh my gosh, that never happens. And I thought that they covered well. Because I think what was supposed to happen is it was going to get blocked anyway, so I think they just sort of moved into the next segment of the match. But yeah, hope Arisa Endo is okay.
Yeah.
The next match was the first of 2 semifinal matches for the Tokyo Princess Cup, where Miyu Yamashita defeating Yuki Arai in 13 minutes and 18 seconds. My first note is hot dog, is what I wrote. I thought it was a solid match. I was like, okay, this is like a 3.5 star match. This is fine. This is fine. And then just they went crazy at the end, made Arai look like $1 million, and I think it's Arai's best match by a very large margin. I went 4.25 stars.
Yeah, that's where I was too. Like I said it was a damn good match, but that closing stretch was awesome. Just so many good looking kicks, and I put in my notes, I don't know if this is Arai's best match, but that closing stretch is easily the best she's ever looked.
I mean, I'm trying to think of another match where, like, because the tag title reign.
Yeah, that wasn't any good. She had that Maki Ito match that I remember being pretty good.
I don't even. When was that?
Sometime last year?
Yeah, I mean, this was the one that I was like, I couldn't even think of anything that really was close. I guess I would have to go back and see what I gave. Now that you're saying that, I'm sort of vaguely remembering the Ito stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, I would have to go back in my notes and like see what I thought.
When was that? That was from Grand Princess 22.
Grand Princess 22.
So that was March of last year. That was the same show with Nakajima and Yamashita in the main event. That was Maki Ito defending the princess title against her.
All right. I don't see anything in my notes. Did I take notes on that? Maybe I didn't. But anyway.
Okay, I just have 4 stars on it. So yeah, no, this is...
Yeah. But a great
There we
match
go.
here.
Yep.
And then the main event was another semi-final match, the last semi-final match. Yuki Kamifuku defeating Rika Tatsumi in 12 minutes and 39 seconds to move into the finals. Kelly, what did you think of this main event?
What an upset. Like, who saw this coming? Kamiyu just worked her ass off here and put in a great performance to the point where I think she looked better than Tatsumi in this match. Like, I thought at first, like, there was a weird bit in the opening bits of the match where Tatsumi had, like, a really hard time getting over the top rope. And I was like, what is happening? This match is turning into a disaster. But then it kind of worked things out. And, like, I don't know. Kamiyu just rocked in this match and proved that she could be a main event level wrestler in this company. I went 4 stars. I thought it was great.
Yeah, I enjoyed it as well. And yeah, a shocking result. I have to say, and this will bleed into the next show, that, you know, I put together all our notes using very helpfully the cage match results. I have to say, the cage match, what do they call them? The cage match freaks.
The inmates.
The inmates are not high on Yuki Kamifuku.
No.
I have noticed, because this match was given a 7.13, which averages out to what? 3.55 or something. 3.565. Which I think is pretty low for this match. I also thought it was really good. And a good, it's always fun to have sort of a Cinderella story for this tournament, and it turns out Yuki beating Miyu, who everyone or many people thought would go to the finals or maybe win the whole thing. It turned out to be Yuki.
Yeah. I mean, maybe, I was thinking about it, maybe the inmates don't like the old McDonald erasure.
Maybe it's protest.
Yeah.
Against Old McDonald. Yeah, that could be. You may be right about that. But we are going to roll right into the next night, which was once again Tokyo Joshi, the Tokyo Princess Cup Finals on August 13th, back at Korakuen Hall, this time in front of 657 fans. So a nice bump there. Kelly, what were your thoughts about this show?
Another good show, but damn, it had a killer main event, which we'll get to later. But yeah, this was a solid show.
Yeah, this much more felt sort of like a one card match. It was a very good, a one match card, I should say, not a one card match. But the one match was very good and sort of not surprising because they don't really announce. I went in not even knowing what had been announced.
Yeah, same.
So I sort of went in blind. A lot of good matches, but really the highlight, as it should be, was the main event. So we'll dive right into it. The first match was a singles match. Hikari Noa defeating Runa Okuba in 5 minutes and 13 seconds. We don't often get to hear it. So I just want to mention the Runa theme song is a bop. My only other note is that Runa was really going nuts with those elbows. I guess all the rookies have just decided they're going to be shooters with their elbows, which is good for me because I like that. This was a quick match, good win for Hikari, but not much else to say.
Yeah, no, it was just a fun opener. Nothing super remarkable about it, but another just like, hey, these rookies are pretty decent.
The next match was a three-way match. Naokakuta defeating Haruna Neko and Himawari in 8 minutes and 4 seconds. Another match I thought was fine. Thought it was interesting to see Hikari Noa and Naokakuta both win, with the upcoming news on this show about the tag championships. So just something that sort of stuck out in my head.
Yep, we gotta keep pushing for free Wi-Fi to get those titles.
The next match was a tag team match. Palm Harajuku fighting through an ice injury. I don't know. She was originally, I believe, announced to not be on the show, and then last minute was put back on the show. So good to see her able to make it. But she and Raku defeating Haru Karashiro and Shino Suzuki in 7 minutes and 40 seconds. A big win for Raku, who picked up the win. Other than that, I wrote in my notes, it was a match.
Yeah, it was a blessed weekend to get getting on the winning side twice.
Then it was announced that at Wrestle Princess 4, the new tag champions will be crowned. The title's currently vacant, of course. It was later revealed, not on this show, it was later revealed that there will be 2 three-way matches, three-way tag team matches, so 6 people. The winners of those 2 matches will go on to face each other for the championships at Wrestle Princess 4. So we will be talking about that soon, as those matches will be happening in September. The next match saw the Karate Kids, Juria Nagano and Moka Miyamoto, defeating Hyper Misao and Kaya Toribami in 8 minutes and 58 seconds. A good win, a bounce back win for Juria here. I like the Karate Kids team together. There's a lot of good, one of a lot of good sort of young contenders possibly for the tag titles, but a good win for Juria. Just wish, as always, that she and Mocha looked a little bit more as one, as a unit.
Yeah, and not Juria wearing Mocha gear.
Yeah, let's
Not
put
that.
Juria. That's what I meant. Let's put Juria in a long skirt.
No, you gotta specify that so the monkey's paw isn't just like, all right, I got you.
This is what you asked for.
Yep. But it was cool seeing Juria win here. I didn't expect Misao to be on the losing side here.
The next match was another tag team match. Mahiro Kiryu and Yuki Arai picking up a win over Toga and Wakana Uehara in 10 minutes and 18 seconds. Kelly, what did you think of this one?
I loved the bit where Kiryu got embarrassed for trying to go for the pin when she wasn't legal and then had to apologize for that. I thought that was a very good use of that gimmick. But overall, just fun match. I went 3 1/4 on it.
Yeah, I also thought it was a super fun match. I thought everyone looked good. I did like also that part where she tried for the pin, which I was confused at first what was happening, and then they're like, "Oh, she's not legal," and I thought that was very funny. And I think it's no coincidence that it's Toga and Wakana here near the top of the card together here, because I think that they have sort of stood out amongst the rookies. And I think, if I had my druthers, they would get, pushed pretty fast. I'll say that.
Yeah, hell, throw them in that tag title tournament thing. Why not?
So that would be my thought. It was then announced that Tokyo Joshi will return to the United States on December 14th for Combat Princess USA, a joint venture with Prestige Wrestling, will be happening at the Globe Theater in Los Angeles. So exciting to see Tokyo Joshi already returning to the States. Hopefully one day they make it to the East Coast, please. But some big names announced, both from Tokyo Joshi and from the American side. Killer Kelly will be there. Sandra Moore, Taya Valkyrie, Miyu Yamashita, and some others. So I'm sure that card will start to be announced in the coming months. But exciting to see Tokyo Joshi still trying to get things done in the U.S., which is exciting for me. And probably for Kelly, who also lives in the United States.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty excited about it. I mean, I don't think we need Taya Valkyrie on those shows, but like, sure.
Yeah. Anyway,
Maybe just book good wrestlers.
Well, they did pretty well. Other than that, so
yeah.
Can't fault them too much. The semi-main of the show was a 6-person tag team match. Mizuki, Shoko Nakajima, and Suzume defeating Miyu Watanabe, Rika Tatsumi, and Yuki Aino in 15 minutes and 31 seconds. I thought this was good action, good match. Felt very sort of modern style at the end, with lots of people sort of, coming in and out of the ring to do their stuff, which is a little bit different than sort of the typical Tokyo Joshi style. Sort of like, oh, I come in, I do a move, then you come in, you do a move to me. Sort of that back and forth style, which is sort of like a modern US style, I guess I would think of it as.
Yeah. The PWG style.
Yeah, so interesting to see it here. Also, in some way interesting, the taking the fall, Miyu Watanabe getting pinned by Mizuki. Sort of sad to see, but
Buried.
I liked it. I went 3.5 stars.
Yeah, no, I thought this was really good. Pretty much nonstop action. I went 3 3/4 on it. It was a really solid semi-main with the. No, I was about to say with everyone from that didn't make the finals from the top 8, but that is not true. I was going to lie to all of you people. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Don't say it. And then the main event, the final match in the 2023 edition of the Tokyo Princess Cup, Miyu Yamashita defeating the Cinderella story Yuki Kamifuku in 15 minutes and 57 seconds. Kelly, I'll let you go first.
More than anything, I come away from this match so goddamn impressed with Yuki Kamifuku. Like, where did this come from? She stepped up so huge here, and there was about like halfway through the match, I was like, you know what? Let her win. It's like, let's do it. Camille's winning. This is just a really good, straightforward, hard-hitting match. You had Miyu's curse versus Camille's Cinderella story. It's like, who is going to come out on top? I fucking loved this match. I went 4.5 stars. Where were you on it?
I also went 4.5 stars. I really liked it. I thought it was a great effort by Yuki. Really great. I really, the near fall at the end with her foot on the rope really got me. That was a big moment. And I just sort of like the general story. I don't think this is really a story, it sort of is a story the company's telling, but just the general idea that I think 3 or 4 years ago, it was like, well, no one can beat Miyu. Like, she's the best, she's the best. She's head and shoulders above, the sort of Yuki, that sort of like mid card, upper mid card type of person, she could go even with, like Shoko or, Rika or people of that level, but sort of below that, it was like, oh, of course she's gonna like just kill them. And the story that sort of all these people, Yuki Arai getting close the night before, Yuki getting close here, is like the whole level of Tokyo Joshi is sort of rising and getting much closer to Miyu than she's ever been. Um, like closing in on sort of overtaking her and her battle to remain, one step ahead. I think is just sort of a fun general promotional story that I'm very much enjoying. So that was also part of this. But like I said, I went 4.5. I thought it was great. A great finish to the tournament, which has really become in the last 2 years very consistent. I mean, we had some great matches the night before, and then a great match here, which is the same um, as last year, which had two great semifinals and then a great final match.
Yep.
So really, um, overall, a very good tournament and a great match to cap it off with.
Yeah, no, they did a great job with this tournament. I'm a big fan of single elimination tournaments. Need more of those, and they did great with this one.
All right. Well, also happening on August 13th was Stardom show Stardom X Stardom from Edion Osaka Arena in front of 1,796 fans. And Kelly, I'm fascinated to know what you thought about this show.
Overall, I came away from it pretty positive. I don't think it was like a top of the line Stardom show. It was definitely a step down from the opening night of the 5-star, but by and large, I thought it was pretty good.
I thought it was fine. My sort of overall, like the show ended and I was like, that was fine. I sort of went in with slightly lower expectations, and I feel like my slightly lower expectations were met. That sounds sort of overly negative, but it was sort of like, I don't think this is going to be a top end Stardom show. And it sort of wasn't. It still had good stuff on it, but it was sort of like the big matches. I was like, okay, I think I'm going to think that these are mostly fine. And that's mostly what I thought.
Yeah, you
There
didn't
were,
expect it to blow you away, and it didn't. But it
yes,
wasn't bad either.
yes. It was sort of, I was expecting like a 7 out of 10 show, and I got a 7 out of 10 show.
Yeah.
Um, but the show kicked off with a gauntlet tag team match. The duo of Mei Sierra and Suzu Suzuki winning in the end. But I mean, I don't really have that much to say. It was like a bunch of 2 or 3 minute long matches, um, where it's sort of hard to say anything about the individual matches. I'm glad that Suzu and Mei won. Um, and a little bit sad that it seemed, based on this and some other things, that Yuna Mizumori seems like she will be pretty locked into sort of the life of a comedic undercarder.
Yeah.
Because 2 or 3 years ago, it was like, wow, she could be a really big deal. And now it's sort of like, well, she isn't a big deal.
Yeah. As far as these like get everyone on the show opener things go, I thought this one was actually pretty good. Like the back 2/3 of the match were solid. I went 3.25 on it, which isn't bad by any means. So I enjoyed myself watching this. But yeah, no, I do agree with you on Yuna. There was a bit where I was like, yep, she's just gonna be stuck in this role as the lower card person on Cosmic Angels that Tom gets to bully.
The next match was our 1 5-star Grand Prix match of the evening. Starlight Kid getting her first 2 points, defeating Natsuko Tora in 7 minutes and 31 seconds. Natsuko Tora now attempting gimmick number 10,001 to try and make her look cool with new entrance gear that she has been wearing to the ring. I don't know. I don't know. It's just like every match is the same. Okay, here it comes. Here's a cane. Here's a this. Oh, the ref is distracted. Oh, we're doing this. I don't know. I just I find myself struggling to care.
Yeah. I will say I liked this one a decent amount, and I give a huge credit to Starlight Kid for that. I thought they worked at a pretty fast pace, and Kid kind of bumped like a maniac for Tora. So I went 3.5. I liked this.
Well, there you go.
I mean, I don't think I'll. Well, no, there was I think one other Natsuka Tora match I enjoyed that much later in the tournament or earlier. I don't know. I don't remember when things happen anymore. Time is a flat circle.
Well, what else happened on this show? The high-speed title, Saki Kashima successfully defending her title against Koguma in 4 minutes and 53 seconds. I thought there were some fun high-speed sequences early on. They felt heavily like sort of Koguma very much leading Saki through those segments, where it was like Koguma was like, "I got you. I can go very fast. Just follow along with me." Um, but I thought it was short, enjoyable. I think it's probably the finish with Saki getting the roll up is going to be how most of these high speed matches are probably going to end in Saki's reign. But yeah, I mean, 4 minutes and 53 seconds. There's not really much to say about it.
Yeah, no, I thought it was a pretty just kind of average high speed title match. Just like it was fine. It was a C.
I did find it funny after the match, May Sierra coming out to challenge for the high speed title, Saki Kashima going, "I have my next challenger. It's Momokogo." And then May having to like slink away awkwardly. I found that very funny, but no worries for May, who would come out again later in the show. Speaking of, the next match in the show was for the Goddesses of Stardom title, and we have new champions as Kelly's favorite duo, Natsupoi and Sayori Ano, defeating the Club Venus champions of Mariah May and Mina Shirakawa in 13 minutes and 24 seconds. Kelly, what'd you think of this one?
I thought the match itself was great, but boy, do I ever hate the booking here. Because it's just a repeat of Mina's white belt run, where a single successful defense and then drop the titles. And then we also have a repeat of the Tom and Poi feud with they feud, become best friends. Oh, now they're the tag champs. It's incredibly lazy booking. And I kind of hate that it left such a bad taste in my mouth because I really did like the match itself.
I also liked the match. I was sort of sitting watching the match thinking, oh, this is pretty good. This is a nice match. And then thinking, probably on a show like this, if you're not in the main event, you're sort of trying not to kill yourself because you're doing all of these 5-star matches that are probably very tiring. So you probably just want to go out there and sort of like have a nice match, but sort of keep your energy further days. And as I was in the middle of thinking that, Sayori got dropped directly on top of her head. And I was like, well, never mind. And then the end of the match was just everyone like yoinking each other with suplexes on their heads, which has seemingly become like the Natsupoi Sayori deal.
Yeah.
Which is like, oh, we'll just throw everyone, on their heads at the end of the match. That'll be the end. And that'll be it. And I thought that was great. So I went 4 stars on this match.
Yeah, I was just below. I went 3 3/4.
And I mean, I think it's interesting. I mean, I think Natsupoi and Sayori are a good team. So I'm fine with them winning, not thinking about. You are right that it is sort of a repeat of a story that we just had.
Yeah, it's double. They did twice in one match. It's kind of impressive.
Then afterwards, Macier was back out with Suzu Suzuki to challenge for the tag titles. That match will be coming up, which we'll be talking about in the preview, but that should be a very fun match.
It would have actually been kind of funny if they had said no and May Sierra came out to challenge every title holder, and each time was like, no, I already have someone.
Yeah. Oh, strong. I'm out here for the strong title. Yeah. But they will be challenging. Then next was Julia defending her strong women's title, defeating you in 19 minutes and 1 second. Kelly, I'll let you go first.
It's picked up a little bit in the second half, but for the most part, it was very boring. Don't need any U singles matches on my Stardom shows. Thank you very much. 3 stars.
She hit a great slap on Julia at one point, and I thought, oh,
That was good.
That's fun.
Yeah, that was good.
It just to me felt sort of like, well, we need a challenger. It's you, as in,
Yep.
it's you. I don't know, and maybe I'm just also having flashbacks to like 2016, where every promotion on Earth had you challenging for their title, and not winning. Where I'm like, oh God, I'm back. Please. So I just sort of watched it and I was like, things are happening and I have no reaction to any of this. And it ended and I was like, okay, let's move on with our lives.
You can hear the Rolling Stones and see the choppers, but instead it's you and some you-related entrance music. I could not tell you what her music is. I couldn't, if you make me put a gun to my head and say, imagine you's entrance music, I got nothing. I don't know what it is.
After the match, Diana Perazzo appeared on the video board to challenge Julia for the strong title. Then Giselle Shaw appeared as well, saying she wanted to challenge. Momo Kogo was later added to that match, which is happening, I believe, hours from now as we record. So I will have happened by the time this gets released, and I'm assuming Julia will retain. But you never know.
It's going to be wild when Momo Kogo pins Julia.
But the video played, reached the end of the video, and awkwardly started playing again, which was very odd. Then they stopped the video, and there was absolutely dead silence in the arena. I mean, you could have heard a whisper in the upper deck with how quiet. I was like, what's happening? It was just very strange. That match will be fine, I'm sure, on the Impact New Japan Multiverse show. And that's that. The next match was for the IWGP Women's title. Mayu Iwatani, the champion, retaining her title against Utami in 21 minutes and 32 seconds. I thought this was pretty good. I think I was below what most other people were. I went 3 3/4. A lot of it didn't really grab me except for the crazy looking finish.
Yes.
The leaping over the shoulders top rope Poison Rana, which I thought looked amazing and really got me going. But then the match was over. So it was just one of those things where I was like, yeah, this is good. I don't know. Maybe part of it is that, we're seeing a lot of 5-star matches that also have been very good. So, maybe my brain was just sort of like, yep, it's another singles match. Still thought it was very good, but didn't really get to the next level that I think it did for a lot of people. The Wrestling Observer had it at 4 1/4. They also had Julia and you at 4 1/4, which I find
objectively wrong.
Sure. But yeah, because I would not say that these matches were in the same
of the same quality in any
all.
way.
Yeah.
I was also 4 1/4 on this match, actually. I liked how it felt kind of just like a war of attrition, where Mayu was just getting her ass beat by Utami for a good long time, but then she finally managed to outlast her, and once Utami slipped up, she was like, all right, cool, I can strike, and then she put her away. I thought that was an interesting story for the match.
And then the main event, speaking of going back to 2016, 2017, Tom Nakano retaining her World of Stardom title over the Megasis, Megan Bayne, in 16 minutes and 23 seconds. This to me felt very much like a 2017 Gaijin Io Shirai title defense. Sort of like, okay, this person is fine. Tom will work hard, sort of make it okay, and I'll never think about this match. The minute we stop talking about this show, I won't ever think about this match again.
I was weirdly kind of high on it. I went 4 stars. I thought it was a good main event, and I liked Bane as the like giant Gaijin Goliath to Tom's David. I don't know. This match just worked for me.
All right. Well,
maybe I was just impressed it wasn't bad.
It could be. That was Stardom X Stardom from August 19th. But just recently, Stardom had another show on August 19th at Odo Ward General Gymnasium. I have a strange feeling that, Kelly, we're in the for a Stardom show, we're in the large minority of people who have actually watched this show. I saw almost no discussion at all about it. Not even from the Stardom account itself didn't even really say anything about it.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised, honestly. I thought this show wasn't going to do well as a whole, just because I don't think most Stardom fans are interested in retro Joshi.
So we'll sort of move through this one maybe a little bit faster than with the other shows. The show kicked off Hanan, Rina, and Hina against Yuna Mizumori, Waka Tsukiyama, and Lady C. Hanan pinning Waka. I had no thoughts about this. I thought it was a fine opener.
Same.
Great. Then they cut to what I thought was a strange Suzu Suzuki music video.
I was like, what is happening?
Which was revealed that it's for Stardom Pop-Up Grand Prix, which I don't know what that is.
It's a start. Suzu is clearly starting her streetwear brand, and she is having a pop-up shop that is also a wrestling show.
In the next match, Mariah May and Mina Shirakawa beat Tekla and Megan Bayne when Mariah pinned Tekla. Really, the thing that stuck out to me here, the Mariah Tekla sequences, I thought were a lot of fun. Yeah.
I talked about this on the last episode, how I thought this should have just been part of the Stardom and Showcase canon. And I was 100% proven right when Mina started just shaking her honkers at the camera, and the camera just started just shaking furiously, just zooming in and out. And I was like, yep, that's a Stardom and Showcase moment right there. And then it happened again on their way out of the ring. So I was like, you know what? I was proven right.
There you go. In the next match, Maika and Suzu Suzuki beat Ami Sourei and Saya Ida when Maika pinned Saya. I actually thought this was a super fun match. I thought everyone really worked hard. I went 3.5 stars. My one question is, are they going to make this Maika Suzu May a real unit?
I don't know.
It feels like they only tag with each other, and yet they haven't really talked about it.
No, they've been dancing around it so much. It's very weird. And the note I made in my notes was, could Saya possibly be a member of Maika Goon too?
Oh, that would be interesting.
Yeah. I think there's something there you can do, but it's like they don't want to pull the trigger yet.
The next match, Mayu Iwatani and Koguma defeating Shiri and Saki Kashima, the killers of God's Eye, when Mayu submitted Saki in the middle of the ring, felt a bit in this match like they were just sort of going through the motions, which I don't blame them for sort of this low end show in the middle of a low end show. So I thought it was fine. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually don't have any notes on it. I forgot that it happened.
Then we get to the what I would call the business end of the card, with these legends in this next match. Um, oh yes, a 8-person tag match. Can't read my notes properly here. Natsuka Tora, Ruaka, Dump Matsumoto, and Zap defeating Kyoko Inoue, Utami, Azumi, and Miyu Amasaki when Natsuka Tora pinned Miyu Amasaki. I thought this was a lot of fun, sort of a goofy change of pace match. Funniest part of the match for me was Dump Matsumoto not standing on the apron, but just standing in the corner, waiting to cane anyone attempting to get a pin or really do anything of the sort. Just sort of standing there, and it's like, well, here's another pin, slap.
Yeah. I
thought
love
that
that
was
the
very
ref
funny.
just gave up on tags at some point. He's like, fuck it. Anyone tag in. Who cares? Just run in. I can't control this old lady with the stick anymore.
Thought it was fun. Thought it started off fun with them sort of brawling in the crowd. I thought lagged a little bit with the heat segments, but it was fun. You know, I don't really know how much you can expect or should expect Dump to do at the age of 63. Um, but, you know, I thought, as I said, sort of a change of pace, something we don't really see, people we don't really see. So, in that way, I thought it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't say it was a good match and by any means, but like I enjoyed it. So I just slapped 3 stars on it and called it a day.
Then in the semi-main event, Tam Nakano, Natsupoi, and Saori Anou defeated Takako Inoue, Shinobu Kandori, and Hazuki when Natsupoi pinned Hazuki. At one point, Hazuki was elbowing the shit out of the back of Natsupoi's head. Um, and I was like, ooh, gosh, that looks crazy. At one
Yeah,
point,
that looked nasty.
I did think of Kelly because Kandori attacked Daichi during one of the pins. Instead of going for the pin, just went straight for Daichi, and I thought, yes. And I think like Daichi stood up and was like, I'm the referee. You can't do that. Which I thought was funny. Another match, I went sort of 3.5 just because I was like, these are sort of fun. It's fun seeing these older wrestlers. You know, they're diversions. They're not any sort of things you need to go out of the way to see, but I was sort of enjoying myself and having a good time.
Yeah. The one thing about this match that I thought was truly remarkable was Kandori didn't want to do the job so bad that she is the one who got her team to lose essentially by punching or elbowing Hazuki in the face, and that immediately led to the pin. So it's like she's so strong she made her team lose. Like that's amazing. That doesn't work for me, brother of the ages.
And then the main event, I didn't even write down the finish of the main event. What was the finish of the main event? I've watched, like, anyway, it was Jaguar Yokota, Momoe Nakanishi, and Nanai Takahashi taking on Starlight Kid, Momo Watanabe, and you.
I know Starlight Kid got pinned.
Starlight Kid got pinned by,
I think, Nanae.
I think you're right. Why didn't I write that down? I don't know.
Because I remember being like, oh, really? We got to pin Starlight Kid? Fine.
I watched the show like 2 hours ago, and sort of these results were so unimportant that I didn't write it down, and I've already sort of forgotten what happened.
Yeah, I watched it last night as the thing I was doing right before I went to bed, so I was kind of just like, man, I'm tired. I got to finish this.
My first note on the match is Jaguar Yakota's. I didn't know her Twitter handle. Her Twitter handle is FSH4LXTZQUHFW5P.
I've noticed there's quite a few like Japanese Twitter users where initially I think they're just spam bots, but it's like, no, you just have nonsense usernames.
I just thought that was very funny when she was being introduced and her thing popped up, and I was like, what? I thought, did they make a mistake in the graphic? And then I went to Twitter and I discovered they did not make a mistake in the graphic. My biggest note on this is I think Momo Nakanishi is the best wrestler in the world who wrestles less than 5 times a year. Like, she's so good. She's running all over the ring. The crowd is like really reacting to all her things. She's running up the rope. She's diving. She's flipping all over the place. She's, working this high speed style. She is 43. And I was just like, this is great. One big, a really rare boo-boo by the Stardom production. Jaguar Yokota doing a dive off the apron, which was entirely missed by the cameras.
Yeah, no, they're normally pretty good about that stuff.
Because I saw it happening, I was like, oh, look, it was like sort of a wide shot, and I was like, oh, look over there, Jaguar is going to do a dive, I think. And then they cut
and the cameraman said, look over where?
They cut to some other camera, and you heard everyone in the background react to the dive, but you didn't see it. And then they cut back to the large shot, and it was like Jaguar on top of whoever she had dove on. And I was like, well, I guess we just missed that whole thing, which was a bummer. But I have to say, I thought this match ruled. I thought it was great.
It was pretty good. Yeah, I went 3.5. I liked it a decent amount.
Oh, I went way higher than you.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I went 4.25 star on this.
Damn.
I just thought it was super fun. It was super well worked. The end, it was like pin breakups all over the place. At one point, Momoa came in and like threw her entire body into the pin breakup. And I just thought it was great. It was
so much better than when people just come by and like slap someone on the back and they're like, yep, that breaks up the pin.
Yeah, like tap them on the back and be like, okay, broke it up.
I hate that.
I just thought it was really super fun. Like, this is sort of the peak of like what this could be. You get someone, I mean, you're lucky enough to sort of get Momoa in there who can still really go. I mean, Nanai is still can go. Jaguar is sort of there as like, oh, this is fun to have this person here, and she can sort of come in and do things from time to time, but you don't have to like rely on her like sort of they did with Dump in the other match, where it's sort of like, oh, you're the focus of the match, but actually, we need to make sure that you don't break in half by the end of the match. So it was just a lot of fun. I mean, if you were like, I haven't watched this show, should I watch the show? I would just say, watch this one match. Because you sort of get the whole thing. And yeah, I just really enjoyed it. I thought it was a ton of fun. So what else has been happening in the world of Joshi? Well, we're not done with Stardom quite yet. They've had a number of 5-star Grand Prix shows on the 8th, the 10th, the 12th, and the 15th. The 15th was at Corrigan Hall. Kelly, I guess I'll just throw it to you generally. Was there anything that stood out to you with these 5-star Grand Prix shows?
Let me go through my notes.
Here, I'll let you go through your notes, and I'll just say I thought that the August 8th show was really, really good. I think I was probably the high man on that because I thought Mariah and Julia and Syuri and Natsupoi were both super matches. I went 4.25 on both of them. So those were really two matches that really in this group stuck out to me. The Corrigan Hall show was also very good, of course. Sort of the bigger, Corrigan Hall is always going to get sort of the bigger, better matches than some of these smaller little house shows.
Yeah. So on the 8th, I really liked Julia and Mariah. I they feel very similar to me. Like I think Mariah kind of has that crazy person Julia energy of like, let's just go be a insane brawler. So like I think those two had really great chemistry. I like that match a lot. I thought Mayu versus Suzu on that same show was really good. Like Suzu kind of escaping the dragon suplex, but then Mayu just forcing her into it was a cool finish. I went 4 stars on that one. The 10th, Poi versus Mayu was pretty good. That's about the highlight of that one. The 12th, I liked Utami versus Sayori was great. I went 4 1/4 on that one. Sayori is really I think the wrestler of the tournament so far. I think she's been having killer matches all over the place. And then the 15th, the Mariah versus Mina match was great. I thought their fighting spirit, like suplex exchange, was really great, and the flurry of slaps that Mina threw at Mariah was awesome. I went 4 on that one. Siri versus Suzuki was really good too. Just kind of both of them taking crazy bumps and just throwing bombs. I went 4 1/4 on that. I thought Tom versus Mayu was one of those matches where you immediately know it's going to be a draw, and was kind of disappointing. And then Azumi versus Utami was a fun main event. I liked that. You know it's going to be a good match when one of the very first moves is a Canadian Destroyer. And then, you know what? One of the very last moves of that match was a Canadian Destroyer, too. It was a good symmetry there.
Stardom also had New Blood number 10. It has not aired yet. It will air. It will, I believe, be on Stardom World on Monday the 21st. No results were even posted, I don't think. So we don't know what happened. So we're not going to talk about it.
Sting and Darby Allin showed up. It was wild.
Tokyo Joshi also had their latest version of Inspiration. And Kelly, I believe you watched this show.
I did. Have you?
I did not get to it.
You gotta watch the second half. Mizuki versus Iger was a lot of fun. Seeing Mizuki fight the spooky ghost. At one point, Mizuki climbs up to a ledge that I either did not know was in Shinkiba or forgot was there and jumps off of it. So that was very cool. And then the main event between Yamashita and Nakajima may have been the best match that we're going to talk about the entire show. They worked so much harder than they needed to. And it was just great back and forth action. Really felt like a match between two people who know each other so well. And like, shit, it was awesome. I went 4.5 on it. I think a lot of people are going to skip it over because it's on this small inspiration show, but do not skip it. This is one of the best Tokyo Joshi matches of the year.
What else has been happening? Diana had some shows on the 13th. Ayako Sato and Hanako Nakamori retained their tag titles over Mochi Natsumi and Risa Sera. And on the 15th, Haruka Umasaki retained her title over Kakeru Sakaguchi. Marvelous had a show on August 7th. And Kelly, you have not watched the show, have you?
No, I watched the post-match angle afterwards, which was cool, but I totally slipped on watching the main show.
Okay, I have seen the main event, and, you just said Mio and Shoko was the best match of the 2 weeks, but I went 5 stars on this match.
Holy shit, okay. I'm making time for it.
I know when it first happened, a lot of people were upset about the result with Mio losing the title to Osaki. I sort of saw the reaction of everyone before I saw the match. But to me, I watched the match, and it's just the exact perfect type of spectacle. I mean, the crowd is like molten hot, like screaming the whole time. Chigusa, of course, is on, holding the camera, but also on commentary at the same time. So it just has this crazy, Mio's bleeding at one point, and Mayumi's like dragging her through the aisles of Korakuen Hall, um, with her bloody, and Takumi's on the ring apron, yelling at the ref because Ozaki's like killing Mio with this chain and the chairs and everything. Um, and it's just like the perfect, for me, spectacle match where it's just like, whoa, this is crazy. It's a lot of fun. And the post match where Ozaki goes up to Chigusa and drops the belt and then stomps on it, and then Chigusa's running in the ring to try and like tackle her. And she's pissed. And I was like, the whole thing just comes together. Some people were, upset that Mio lost the title, which I think makes sense, but I just think as a match, it's so like these big Osaki matches, like the one against Sayori a couple of years ago, was sort of a
That was
similar
so
thing.
good.
Another great match, but it's like these big matches where they just go out and it's like bloody brawls. I just think are great. So I thought this was an amazing match, and very well worth watching.
Damn. Well, I got to do that. I have to ask though. Did Mio get misted with red mist, or was that all blood?
She got misted. She got misted with red mist, but she was bleeding. She was bleeding all over the place.
Because it looked like her head got dunked in just red paint.
Yeah, I think a lot of that late was mist, but when she started bleeding, it was like a lot of blood immediately.
Okay.
So I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of that was also blood in addition to the mist.
Okay.
So yeah. Kelly, what else has been happening in Joshi in the last 2 weeks?
Ganbare's Joshi offshoot Ganjo had their Battle Garega 23 show on August 11th. Standout matches on that one for me were Unagi Sayaka defeating Yoshihiko Hasegawa. That one kind of made me think like, hey, following Unagi's time in the Fire Festival, I think she's hitting harder than ever now. So I think that's interesting watching her grow as a performer. And then in the main event, Yuri defended the Ice X Infinity title against Rina Amakura, who was doing an Amy Manase gimmick where she was just wearing Yuna Manase's gear and doing some of her moves. But that was a fun match. I went 3.5 on both of those two. And then over in DDT, they had Saki Akai's 10th anniversary show on August 13th. The main event of that was Saki Akai, Asuka, Mayuki defeating Shoko Nakajima, Rina Yamashita, and Takumi Iroha. This is a really fun all-star trios match. Everyone worked really hard here, which is especially notable that Iroha was in the States like a day and a half prior to this. So it's like, damn, no jet lag there. But yeah, I went 4 stars on it. Definitely worth your time.
And then what is coming up in the world of Joshi in the next 2 weeks? Well, we got more 5-star Grand Prix action on the 26th of August. Now, there was a show also today on August 20th. Obviously hasn't made it to Stardom World yet, but we'll be there soon. But on the 26th, 3 matches: Tom Nakano versus Natsuko Tora, Julia versus Mirai, and Utami versus Maika. On the 27th, 4 matches: Natsupoi versus Natsuko Tora, Ami Sourei versus Starlight Kid, Sayori Ono versus Hanan, and Momo Watanabe versus Mariah May. On September 2nd, 4 matches: Mayu Iwatani against Ami Sourei, Julia versus Momo Watanabe, Mina Shirakawa versus Azumi, and Utami versus Mariah May. And then on September 3rd will be the 5-star special, some 5-star matches, as well as much more. The 5-star matches: Utami against Momo, Tom Nakano against Starlight Kid, Mayu Iwatani versus Suri. And then 3 title matches: Saki Kashima will defend her high-speed title against the aforementioned Momo Kogo. Sayori Ono and Natsupoi will defend their recently won tag titles against Suzu Suzuki and Mei Sierra. And Mirai will defend the Wonder of Stardom title against Konami. Kelly, you think we see any title changes on that show?
Konami's definitely not winning. Ko's not winning. No. Maybe Suzu and Mei, but I doubt it. No title changes. Not a single one.
Then SEAdLINNG at Korakuen Hall on August 25th has their 8th anniversary show, a big show here. Will open with Ryo Mizunami and Miyuki Takase against Yu and Hiroya Matsumoto. La Pedida will face off against Kakeru Sekaguchi in a high-speed match that will be I guess you could call it a mask versus mask match. If La Pedida loses, she will lose her match. If Kakeru Sekaguchi loses, she will gain a mask. She will be forced to put a mask on. So that's an interesting stipulation there. A 6-person match, Mima Shimoda, Makoto, and Asuka will take on Miyo Momono, Itsuki Aoki, and Misa Kagura. And then on the top 2, the tag titles will be defended. New champions Riko Kaiju and Ayame Sasamura will defend against Natsu Sumire and Maya Yukihi. And the big main event for the Beyond the Sea title, Arisa Nakajima will defend against Sari in what should be an excellent match. Almost
You
undoubtedly.
think Sari's winning?
I think she may, yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a good chance of that.
I mean, they've certainly built it up. They had the sort of, they had the show. They've had it on SEAdLINNG shows, but also on the Sari-ism 2. They had the big tag, which that all, the Nakajima Sari interactions were a focus. So I think they built it in a way that, and it also seems like if it's not going to be Sari, who's going to actually win this title? So,
yeah.
Tokyo Joshi has a show on August 26th. Rika Tatsumi will take on Demonio Dos. Demonio Uno defeated by Rika Tatsumi a while back. So Demonio Dos coming for some family revenge, I guess. Are they a family? I don't know.
It could be.
And then what was described in the auto-translate as a summer party death match, Mizuki and Himawari will take on Shoko Nakajima and Palm Harajuku in a match with rules to be announced later.
I'm so excited for whatever the hell that's going to be.
So we'll see what that is. Sendai Girls has a big show on September 2nd, the big show in Niigata, their yearly big show. Ria Marumori will take on Yuna. Yurika Oka will take on the visiting Natsupoi. A classic for the last time, Sakura Hirota will take on Iger. Ryo Mizunami, Aja Kong, and Britain's Lena Cross will take on Sari, Saori Yano, and Chi-Chi. Millie McKenzie will face off against Manami. Mika Iwata and Miyuki Takase will take on Kairi and Veni. And then for the tag titles in the main event, Chihiro Hashimoto and Yu will face off against Hiroya Matsumoto and Dash Chizako, the recently returned. Ice Ribbon has a Korakuen Hall show on August 26th, headlined by a tag title match. Makoto and Hamako Hoshi will take on Yappy and Akari, as well as Sumika Yanagawa and Misa Kagura. And in the main event, Yuri will defend her Ice Infinity title against Ibuki Hoshi. That should be a good match. Kelly, anything else from you? Anything we missed?
So nothing else, but I did just discover via Twitter, shouts out to Joshi City at Joshi Puro. Marvelous is now doing a YouTube subscription thing where it costs like $7 a month, and they did upload the August 7th show. So I'm going to subscribe so I can watch that.
Oh yes, they did, and I believe it's 699 yen. So
Even better.
If you're in the States, I believe with the current exchange rate,
That's
it's
like
actually
$3.
yeah, it's actually very cheap.
Hell yeah.
Thank you for reminding me. I meant to mention that when I was talking about the show, but you can, yes, watch it there with their YouTube subscription.
Yeah, so I will subscribe to that later.
And Kelly, I turn the floor over to you for your weekly chat.
Okay, so I haven't really seen anything of note in the past 2 weeks, mostly because there's been so much wrestling. But later tonight, on the day we record this, I am going to go see the new 20th anniversary 4K restoration of Old Boy. And if you've never seen Old Boy, you should watch it. It's an incredible movie. Make sure to watch the original, and also don't look up anything about it. The twist ending is one of the single best in any movie. Do not ruin it for yourself. It's so good.
I saw The Last Voyage of the Demeter this weekend, and I'll recommend it to you, Kelly, because I think you might enjoy it.
Okay.
It's a vampire slasher movie on a boat.
Hell yeah. Okay. Someone was telling me about a boat Dracula movie. All right.
Yeah. So I saw it, thought it was a lot of fun. Won't change your life, but very enjoyable.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, that sounds fun.
And that ends our segment recommending movies to each other at the end of a
Oh,
Joshi
it actually
podcast.
is like Dracula. That's not even just someone calling all vampires Draculas.
Yes, it's actually Dracula. And this is
Wow,
not a spoiler.
okay.
It's not a spoiler because at the begin it's based on the Dracula novel, and they explicitly say that in the first 2 seconds of the movie. So
Okay. Yeah, no, when someone said that to me, I thought they were just calling all vampires Draculas, which yeah, I mean, you can't I do that all the time.
So yeah, that is all for this episode of Jumping Bomb Audio, but we will see you in 2 weeks' time.
Yep, we're coming to your house. We're busting down the door, and we're going to do a podcast in your living room.
We're only
the first ever Jumping Bomb Audio home invasion tour.
We're only doing personal podcasts for no more than 2 people at a time, where we will say the same things. We'll memorize a script of our thoughts and say the same things. But anyway, for Kelly, I am Taylor, and we will see you in 2 weeks' time on Jumping Bomb Audio.
Leave your doors unlocked. We'll be by later.
Hello, do you like New Japan Pro Wrestling? Are you a Shin Nihon freak? If so, check out the Super J-Cast with Joel and Damon on the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network.
And even if you fucking hate New Japan Pro Wrestling, listen to the Super J-Cast anyway. Not just for our great show reviews, analysis, and pastrami sandwiches, but there's also usually some dick jokes somewhere in the obligatory opening 30 minutes of absolute nonsense we chat about every single week. That's the Super J-Cast for all the best talk about New Japan Pro Wrestling, crisps, and pornography.
Hey kids, do you like wrestling? Well, we like wrestling too. We are Shake Them Ropes here on the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Myself and Chris Novembrino kind of doing a lazy river of wrestling criticism, going through the news and whatever happened in stateside television wrestling. And also, you know what? Sometimes we just like to watch old stuff and talk about that too. Love for you to give us a listen. If you haven't already, we are Shake Them Ropes here on the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network.